What's up, beautiful people? Hello. I wanted to actually do a change of scenery. I'm out of my office. I'm in my living room now. I wanted to do this read with me session with you guys. If you guys don't know, my name is Isabel Bedell. I'm one of the founders here at Billionairette. We read 22 books in the year of 2022. And by we read, we're actively doing it. So yes, we're committing to 22 books this year. So 2 books per month. Okay, one on personal freedom and the other one on financial freedom. I'm currently doing the financial freedom books. And if you have not checked out the personal freedom books, definitely go take a listen in that playlist. It's amazing. My beautiful, lovely partner in both life and business, Vanessa Black, is the one reading the personal freedom books. And this month's personal freedom book is Courage is Calling by Ryan Holiday. And if your courage is calling, you might as well go ahead and check that out. Really powerful book. At first, we didn't want to read it because, it's like intimidating copy, not something that we're used to. But you know what? Once you get into it, it's just the messages. Ryan, you did so well. And it was all done through the pandemic. So if you were thinking about, hey, how do I get some courage today? Go have a listen to that book because it really breaks the best version of you. It unleashes all the limiting beliefs and it breaks the limiting beliefs and it unleashes the best version of yourself. So go ahead, take a listen. I'm so excited to dive into part 2 of chapter 8. The last video that we did on chapter 8, we covered some really unique things. And I gotta tell you, this whole entire week, it has been just little nuggets here and there where the universe has planted me in situations where it's like asking me and deliberately putting me in situations to make me realize, hey, are you being an S right now? Are you being an E? Are you being an S? Like, where's your B at? Ooh, was that an I move? And if you don't know, you must check out the last video for the financial freedom because it literally went over the differences between the E and the B, differences between B and I, differences between S's and B's, like differences between I's and E's. Amazing. I wanted to start this video off with a quote, or actually not really a quote, but it's a fact that he states here, an opinion. Some of you might think it's an opinion. I consider it a fact because I definitely have a full agreement with this, but it's something that is very, very important if you're looking to step into a whole new role, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your finances. This right here, what I'm about to share with you, it will shift something in you. And if you need to rewind to re-listen to this, go ahead and do so. Check this out. So when are you really an adult? Well, instead of being a parent or a child, we all need to look at money, work, and investing as adults. So what does that actually look like? Well, being an adult means that you know what you have to do. You will have a knowing of what you need to do. And you do it. Even though you may not feel like doing it. Being an adult means that even though you don't want to do it, you still go ahead and do it because you have the willpower to do so. The willpower and the faith attached to it, knowing that it will get you to that desired outcome, and you believe in yourself. Therefore, you are officially adulting when you can transcend into the feeling, get out of there, use that as a tool, get to the point where you're like, I know what I need to do, and then catapult on over into, hey, I'm going to attack this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get it done because I'm an adult. Okay? So if that wasn't clear, okay, then let's actually continue on into the next step, because what I just shared with you actually stems into a lot of what I'm about to share with you. And he gets into a couple different things that are going to be a bit sensitive to somebody, whoever's listening, and I want you to be prepared. Okay, so I needed to start that so we can get into this on a common ground. Okay, all right, so chapter 8, part 2. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, liked, shared this with a friend or two, go ahead and do so now. Our mission is to impact the lives of 22 amazing women this month to join our Discord. Okay. Our Discord is actually a free community, but we have an amazing Billionaire Inner Circle community where it's $222. We have weekly live sessions where we go over these books and deeper material, along with some crypto education and financial freedom awareness tips and tricks, and some investment opportunities. So make sure to check out the link below so you can learn more about that. But without any further ado, go ahead, check out the description, but let's jump right into it, shall we? Okay, awesome. So he goes into emotionally volatile marriages. The most emotionally volatile marriage I have ever witnessed was a couple where the wife was a hardcore E who believed in a job for financial security, while the husband fancied himself of a high-flying I. He thought he was a future Warren Buffett, but in reality, he was an S, a commission-only salesman by profession, and a chronic gambler at heart. He was always looking for the investment that would help him get rich. He was all ears for any new stock offering, offshore investment scheme that promised ultra high returns, or a real estate deal he could take an option on. This couple is still together, but I really don't know why. Each drives the other one nuts. One person thrives on risk. The other one hates risk. Different quadrants, different core values. So if you're married or in a primary relationship, he's saying, circle the quadrant you generate the majority of your income from. Go ahead, do so. ESBI. Make that, write it down. Circle the one that you get most of your income from. Then circle the quadrant your spouse or partner generates income from. The reason I ask you to do this is that the discussion between partners is often difficult if one partner doesn't understand where the other one is coming from. Then he goes into the battle between the rich and the educated. There is another unspoken battlefield, and that is the difference in points of view between the educated and the rich. In my years of researching the differences between the different quadrants, I often heard bankers, attorneys, accountants, and others like them grumble that they are the educated ones. And it is often the so-called less educated person who makes the big bucks. This is the root of the battle between the educated and the rich. It's not the people in the B and the I quadrants who are uneducated, but many are highly educated. It's just that many B's and I's were not academic whiz kids in school. For those who read my book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know it's about the struggle between the educated and the rich. My highly educated but poor dad took great pride in the fact that he had years of advanced studies at prestigious schools like Stanford and University of Chicago. My rich dad was a man who dropped out of school to run his family business when his father died. So he never finished high school, yet he acquired a tremendous amount of wealth. As I grew older and seemed to be more influenced by my rich but uneducated dad, my educated dad was occasionally defensive of his station in life. One day when I was about 16, my educated dad blurted out, "I have advanced degrees from prestigious schools. What does Mike's dad have?" Well, I paused and I replied quietly, money and free time. More than a mental change. As stated earlier, success in the B or I quadrant requires more than academic or technical knowledge. It often requires a change in core emotional thinking, feelings, beliefs, and attitude. Remember, be, do, have. Be, do, have. If you want to understand more about the be, do, have, make sure to check out the previous video, because that's where we dive deeper into all that. What the rich do is relatively simple. It's the be that is different. Be as in be. The difference is found in their thoughts, and more specifically, their internal dialogue. That's why my rich dad forbade me saying things like, "I can't afford it," or "I can't do that," "play it safe," "don't lose money," "what if you fail, never recover." He prevented Robert to say those things. He banned those statements because he truly believed that those words are powerful tools. What a person says and thinks becomes real. What a person says and thinks become real. Rich Dad firmly believed that what we said to ourselves became our reality. That's why I suspect for people who struggle financially, their emotions often do the talking and control their lives. Until a person learns to overcome those emotionally driven thoughts, their words do become reality. Words such as, "I'll never be rich," "the idea will never work," "it's too expensive for me." If they're emotionally based thoughts, those are very powerful. The good news is that they can be changed with the support of new friends and new ideas in a little bit of time. People who are not able to control their fear of losing should never invest on their own. They really are best served by turning that job over to a professional and not interfering with them. I've met many professional people who are fearless when investing other people's money and able to make lots of money. But when it comes to investing or risking their own money, their fear of losing becomes too strong and they ultimately lose. Their emotions do the thinking rather than the logic. I've also met people who can invest their money and win constantly, but lose their calm when someone asks them to invest money for them. The making and losing of money is an emotional subject. So my rich dad gave me the secret to handling these emotions. Rich Dad always said, to be successful as an investor or a business owner, you have to be emotionally neutral to winning and losing. Winning and losing are just part of the game. Quitting my secure job. My friend Mike had a system that belonged to him. His father built it. I did not have that good fortune. I knew that someday I was going to have to leave the comfort and security of the nest and begin to build my own system. In 1978, I resigned from my full-time secure job at Xerox and took the hard step forward with no safety net. The noise in my head from my fear and doubt was so loud. I was nearly paralyzed with the fear as I signed my letter of resignation, collected my last paycheck, and walked out the door. I had an orchestra of self-damaging thoughts and feelings playing inside me. I was bad-mouthing myself so loudly and with such conviction that I couldn't hear anything else. It's a good thing because so many of the people I worked with were saying, "He'll be back. He'll never make it." Well, the problem was that I was saying the same thing to myself. Those emotional thoughts of self-doubt haunted me for years until Kim and I were successful in both the B and the I quadrants. Today, I still hear those words. They just have less authority. In the process of putting up with my own self-doubt, I learned to create other thoughts and statements of personal encouragement. Statements such as keep calm, think clearly, keep an open mind, keep going. Ask someone who has gone before you for some guidance. Trust and keep the faith in a higher power wanting the best for you. I learned to create these thoughts of encouragement internally, even though there was a part of me that was frightened and afraid. I knew that I had little chance of success my first time out, but the positive emotions of trust, faith, courage, along with good friends, moved me forward. I knew that I had to take risks. I knew that risk led to mistakes, and mistakes led to wisdom and knowledge, both of which I lacked. For me, failure would have been to let my fear win. So I was willing to move forward with few guarantees. My rich dad had instilled in me the idea that failure is part of the process of success. The internal journey. The path from one quadrant to the next is an internal journey. It is a journey from one set of core beliefs and technical skills to a new set of core beliefs and skills. The process is much like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, you fall down a lot. Oftentimes, it is frustrating, embarrassing, especially if your friends are watching. But after a while, the falling stops and riding becomes automatic. If you fall down again, it's not that big of a deal because you know that you can get up and ride again. The process is the same when going from an emotional mindset of job security to the emotional mindset of financial freedom. Once Kim and I made the crossing, we were less afraid of failing because we were confident in our ability to stand up again. There are two statements that kept me going personally. One was my rich dad's words of advice when I was on the brink of quitting and turning back. You can always quit, so why quit now? You can always quit, so why quit now? That statement kept my spirits higher and my emotions calm. It reminded me that I was halfway there, so why turn back? The distance going back was the same as moving forward. It would be like Columbus quitting and turning back halfway across the Atlantic. Sometimes quitting is the best move, and having the intelligence to know when to walk away is important. Too often I meet people who are so stubborn that they keep going forward on a project that has no chance of success. The problem of knowing when to quit or when to keep going is a common problem with anyone who takes risks. One way to manage this problem is to find mentors who have already successfully made the crossing before. A person who is already on the other side can best guide you. But be careful of advice from someone who has only read books about the crossing and gets paid to lecture on the subject. The other statement that often kept me going was, giants often trip and fall, but worms don't, because all they do is dig and crawl. Giants often trip and fall, but worms don't, because all they do is dig and crawl. I love that. But I really love this one even more. Be careful of advice from someone who has only read books about the crossing and gets paid to lecture on the subject. The main reason so many people struggle financially isn't because they lack a good education or are not hardworking. It is because they are afraid of losing. It is the fear of losing that stops them, because in their mind, they've already lost. Losers cut their winners and ride the losers. Fear of being a loser affects what people do in a strange way. I have seen people who bought stocks at $20 sell their shares when they reached $30 because they were so afraid of losing what they have gained. And then they watch the stock go up to 100, split, and go up 100 again. Ironically, that same person who bought a stock at $20 will watch it go down to $3 and still hang on, hoping the price will come back up. This is an example of a person being so afraid of losing or admitting they lost that they wind up losing. Winners cut their losers and ride their winners. Winners do things almost exactly the opposite. Often, the moment they know they took a losing position, their stock price starts to go down instead of up. They will sell and take their losses. Most are not ashamed to say they took a loss because a winner knows that losing is part of the process of winning. When they find a winner, they will ride it up as far as it can go. The moment they know the free ride is over and the price has peaked, they cut and they sell. The key to being a great investor is to be a neutral thought, to have a neutral thought to winning and to losing. Then you don't have emotionally driven thoughts, such as fear and greed. Those are the ones doing the thinking for you, not you. Losers do the same thing in life. People who are afraid of losing do the same things in real life. We all know of people who stay in marriages where there is no longer any love, people who stay at dead-end jobs, people who hang on to old clothes and things they never use, people who stay in towns where they have no future, and people who stay friends with people who hold them back. Emotional intelligence can be controlled. Financial intelligence is closely linked to emotional intelligence. In my opinion, most people suffer financially because their emotions are in control of their thoughts. We, as human beings, all have the same emotions. What determines the differences between what we do and what we have in life is primarily how we handle those emotions. For example, the emotion of fear can cause some of us to be cowards, but also it can spur others to become courageous. Unfortunately, when it comes to the subject of money, most people in our society are conditioned to be financial cowards. When the fear of losing money comes up, most people's minds automatically start chanting these thoughts. Security rather than freedom. Avoid risk rather than learn to manage risk. Play it safe rather than play it smart. I can't afford it rather than how can I afford it? It's too expensive rather than what is it worth long term? Diversify rather than focus. What will my friends think? Rather than what do I think? The wisdom of risk. There's a science of taking risks, especially financial risk. One of the best books I have read on the subject of money and risk management is Trading for a Living by Dr. Alexander Elder. Although it was written for people who professionally trade stocks and options, The wisdom of risk management applies to all areas of money management, personal psychology, and investing. One of the reasons many successful Bs are not always as successful as Is is because they do not fully understand the psychology behind purely risking money. While Bs understand risk when it involves business systems and people, the knowledge does not always translate into the systems of making money. It's emotional more than technical. In summary, moving from quadrants on the left to quadrants on the right is more emotional than technical. If people are not able to control their emotions and thoughts, I don't recommend the journey. The reason things look so risky on the right side rather than the left side is because the emotion of fear often affecting the thinking. People on the left side think, play it safe. That is their logical thought, but it truly isn't. It's an emotional thought. And it's the emotional thoughts that keep people stuck in one quadrant rather than going onto the other. What people do on the right side of the equation isn't that hard. I'm sincere when I say that it's as easy as buying 4 greenhouses for low prices, waiting until the market improves, selling them, and then buying a big red hotel. Life really is just a game of Monopoly for people on the right side of the cash flow quadrant. Sure, there is winning and losing, but that's just part of the game. Winning and losing are part of life. To be successful in the right side of the to be successful on the right side is to be a person who loves the game. You got to be successful in the game. Star athletes often lose more than they win, yet they love the game. Donald Trump went broke and battled back. He didn't quit because he lost. Losing only made him smarter and more determined. Many wealthy people went broke before they became rich. It's part of the game. If a person's emotions think for them, those emotional thoughts often blind them from seeing anything else. It's because of those knee-jerk emotional thoughts that people react rather than think. And it's emotional thinking that causes people from different quadrants to argue. The arguments are caused by people not having the same emotional points of view. It's the emotional reaction that blinds a person from seeing how easy and risk-free things are on the right side of the cash flow quadrant. I encourage all of you who want to make the crossing to make sure you have a long-term positive support group and a mentor guiding you. The struggle Kim and I went through was well worth it. For us, the most important thing about crossing from the left side to the right side was not what we had to do, but who we became in the process. And that, to me, is priceless. That's powerful. That is powerful. That concludes chapter 8, part 2 of the cash flow quadrant. And to be honest with you, that was really insightful. That was really powerful in all of its entirety. So when we go into chapter 9, make sure to bring out your pencils, your pens, your notebook, your computer, whatever you got to do, your highlighter, whatever, because it's about to get on and popping. He's literally starting the chapter saying, be the bank, not the banker. So if you're ready to be the bank of your own future, go to the next video, check it out. It's gonna be a good one. So long. Farewell. Go to the next video. Bye.